Alright, guys. I've had people ask me some questions regarding the topic toward the end of the last live stream, and that is Palestine, Israel, the whole Hamas situation, all that good stuff. Because I didn't really chime in much, and there's a reason for that. So people want to know where I stand. So first I'll explain my behavior and why I do what I do. As the owner of the channel that's doing the streaming, even if I go out of my way to make it clear that you speak your mind, and period, and even if I disagree with you, I'm not going to hold it against you because that's kind of what I want. There's this underlying feeling that people have pressure from me, and they won't, oftentimes anyway, they won't completely speak their mind, or they'll hold back a little bit because they have this belief that, like, I'm the guy in control. And I really go out of my way to fight against that because it's not what I want. But sometimes people will get this feeling that they need to, like, mince words or, like, beat around the bush so that they can be extra polite compared to what they would normally be. And they won't make points that they would normally make. So if it's me and like one other person, maybe two other people, I'll generally explain what I think in the most civil way possible, regardless of what someone might think about it. However, in the situation last night, there's several people. For a large portion, it was Andy and Home kind of taking the pro-Israel stance, at least from my perspective. And then there was myself, and I'm kind of at this point an arbiter. Then there's Gadwin and Rash, who were taking the pro-Palestinian stance, from my perspective. So there's several things. When there's that many people, again, I don't want to try to make it seem like my influence is especially weighted, like because I'm the owner of the stream or whatever, that I don't want it to appear like because I'm agreeing with one party or the other that you've lost or you are forced to not speak your mind, I guess. Because there's that sort of intangible pressure there. And I don't want that. It kind of defeats the entire purpose. Secondly, being that it was like 2-2 for a good portion of it anyhow, I didn't want to be like ganging up because then it would be 3-on-2 and all that good shit. So various reasons, and I stand by that. I think it was the best move for the given situation, although it was difficult because I wanted to chime in at times, especially during some of the things said in chat that were kind of ignored. It makes sense. People are on panel, their primary focus is other people on panel, but there was some decent points brought up, or points that I think merited a response that was brought up in chat. I guess I could have interrupted people, but it was so intense on both sides that there wasn't really a good opportunity to do so without derailing people's train of thought. But anyhow, my stance, another reason why I didn't join in is because, as I've already said, I don't want my presence or my thoughts to kind of have any sort of weight beyond the actual premises I set forth. And I thought that Rash and Gadwin were doing an excellent job of basically my entire stance. So, in a nutshell, I guess, I don't think that there's anything that I disagree with when it comes to Gadwin and Rash. I'm entirely on their side on this, and not just some blind, like, that's my side type thing. I sincerely, after having evaluated things, and I do my best to look at both sides of the situation, I believe they're correct. So I believe that For one, this tends to get strawmanned a lot, so I'm not saying that I'm pro Hamas, and that's a silly tactic that people use. What Hamas did on October the 7th was fucking reprehensible. However, I'm of the mind that essentially Israel has been perpetrating heinous acts against Palestinian people for a very, very, very long time. And so it's not like they're this innocent group of people and then they were attacked and they retaliated just like any country would. I think that's very naive. So, from my perspective, they were looking for any excuse they could, and it's why uh, it's like in pretty much anything, the punishment should fit the crime. For one, the punishment should be entirely reserved to the people who perpetrated the offense in the first place. And also, the retaliation should be in equal measure, or maybe slightly more. You could make a justification for that. However, I don't think you can make a really good case that you can indiscriminately bomb people and kill civilians. And we're not talking about just like typical casualties of war. Like, yes, that's always going to happen. We're talking about absolutely no attempt to even try to hide the fact that they're fucking killing everyone. They're making these claims that Hamas is using civilians as human shields, and there's absolutely zero evidence to back that claim. And personally, I don't believe it. And even if it were the case, it doesn't add up, at least as far as numbers go. With the number of Hamas, the tiny number in comparison to the entire Palestinian population, even if that were the case, there wouldn't be as many casualties. I don't know the numbers now, but at some point it was over 90% of the total deaths were Palestinian non-combatants. There's no excuse for that. It's obvious that this is some bullshit. They want to ethnically cleanse the region. And if you pay attention to Israeli fucking media, they don't hide it. They're like, Netanyahu tries to kind of play word games a little bit, but other people that are like involved in the Israeli government are very direct. They make comments like dead civilians or whatever, like that they're able to sleep better at night and shit. Like they're fucking monstrous. So another thing, and I've been over this many times and I don't fall for that shit. It's funny because the right in general plays this thing to where the left, and to be fair, it does happen, the left will do this thing where they just automatically shut you down without actually having any sort of argument by just calling you a bigot or a racist or whatever. Ironically, that's what's happening now. Israel is obviously, like factually, committing war crimes. It's already been dealt with in the international fucking court. Like, the evidence is overwhelming. South Africa did an excellent job of fucking proving their case. And so they're obviously committing all these fucking heinous acts and not even trying to fucking hide it or doing a really shitty job of hiding it. And what was the fucking point I was going with there? I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah. So it's this thing that Israel does, and they're really good at it, but I don't care. I don't fall for that shit. Israel does this thing where any time you have any criticism of what they do and what they have done for a while now, you get labeled automatically an anti-Semitic person. And it makes it to where they shut you down automatically in like an emotional way. They make it seem as if you come at things from like a bigoted standpoint, and then people tend to not take you seriously. I fuck that. No. So anything, as I've said over and over again, should be able to be criticized. I don't care what it is. You can criticize anything that I believe. Sky's the limit. Anything, any idea, any belief, any ideology, any action should be able to be constructively criticized. So when I make direct claims that Israel is in the act of committing a genocide, that's based on the evidence. It's based on the facts that we have, based on what they've done and what they haven't done in large cases to avoid casualties. That they've purposefully blocked aid, and then they make excuses for it and claim that like people had like tent poles that could be used as weapons, which is fucking hilarious that anyone would even take that seriously. After they lost their international court deal, at least the preliminary, they immediately made up bullshit that has still been completely unverified that 12 people within UNRWA, the fucking, I may have pronounced that wrong, but I think it's an NGO that primarily deals with Palestinians and aid. They made it to where they got shut down, and the fucking UN, they fought against them by making up that bullshit and declared that like they're Hamas people, at least 12 of them, and made it to where UNRWA was fucking defunded. All over bullshit. Nothing. Unverified. And they know it. So all of this, at everything we have to this point, if you actually evaluate things, shows that they're not being honest and they're fucking hiding shit. And you take their words and then you take their actions. They don't match up. And everything that I see personally seems to indicate that they've been wanting to destroy Palestine for a long time, and they're using this as their justification. And they're doing their best to push this narrative that all of Palestine is complicit in the actions of the few, Hamas, when they're not. Like, they're obviously not. Do you believe that all of Palestine, like every single person, like wants to get involved in a war and is trying to like destroy Israel? Because that's fucking hilariously fucking retarded. Most of them just want to be fucking left alone and live their lives and have sovereignty and fucking be able to carve out their own path in life. Like, just like anyone. So, yeah, that's essentially my basic stance on the issue. There's nothing offhand I can think of. I've got to go to work soon, so I got to wrap this up anyway. But yeah, I had someone come and ask me my opinion on it, and I thought about it and was like, nah. It might appear like I'm trying to like straddle the fence, so to speak, which is not my intention. Really, I just wanted to not get involved at the moment for the reasons I already described. But I obviously do have an actual position on the matter. Yeah. So, if anyone wants to discuss the matter with me directly, I'm more than welcome to do so in a live stream. Or, what the fuck did I just say? I would be happy to do so in a live stream. But, if, as I already said, if several people are in, I'm probably going to back off and kind of just arbitrate and try to keep things in line, which is not an easy task. But yeah, so if it's just a few people, or if things are lopsided, like there's far more people on pro-Israel side or whatever, then I'll probably join in a little bit. But Yeah, I believe that's everything I wanted to cover. So thank you for your time.